Good afternoon. Man, undefeated. We're going to try that again. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Some of the people in here work for me, so we're going to have a better. No, I'm in a good mood today. Today is another extraordinary day in our city. I am delighted to announce that the City of Atlanta has reached an agreement in principle with the Atlanta Hawks organization for $192.5 million renovation of Phillips Arena that will keep the Hawks in downtown Atlanta for many decades to come. I really want to start by recognizing and thanking the majority owner of the Atlanta Hawks, Tony Reza. Please give him a big round of applause. And Grant Hill and all of the new ownership team. We're so grateful to the team and Steve Koonin, their CEO, for the exemplary way that they have been handling the Hawks organization, and it's not too bad that they're undefeated right now. So I wanted to get this announcement out. Oh man, I did the Falcons when they were almost undefeated too, so it felt good. We also want to welcome the Hawks players to today. Please give them a big round of applause. We would not be here without Jim Beard from my team and Candace Bird. Please give them a round of applause. Jim, and somewhere hiding around here is my old law partner, Robert Highsmith. So he deserves a lot of credit. This is my welcome home to Dwight Howard. I hope this is enough. The city today is committing $142.5 million in funding for this project for a major redesign of Phillips Arena that will assure that it's one of the best arenas in North America. For their part of this public-private partnership, the Atlanta Hawks will invest about $50 million to the renovation, which will secure the status of Phillips Arena as a state-of-the-art venue. What I'm really excited about is once and for all, we will bring down the 4-stack suites. I'm going to let Tony talk about that, but just as somebody that's been here the whole time, I never liked the way that those four suites were all stacked up, and I don't know who in the world would ever want to buy those at the top. So because of Tony and his vision, we're actually going to have suites that wrap the bowl of Phillips Arena in 2 layers, so it's a really exciting concept. I'm also pleased to share that the Atlanta Hawks organization has agreed to develop an equal business opportunity plan, which is so important to the members of the Atlanta City Council, many of whom are here today. Folks like Kwanzaa Hall, Keisha Lance Bottoms are in the house, C.T. Martin is in the house, Howard Shook, our fiscal chief, is in the house, and of course Carla Smith, my sister from another mother, is in the house. So this will ensure that we have about 31% minority and women business participation, and I can't express how enthusiastic Tony and Grant were about that aspect of the deal. This commitment is so important because it continues a legacy of inclusion in the city of Atlanta, and it's another example of how the Atlanta Hawks are true to our city. I also want to thank Adam Silver, who woke me up this morning. So Tony must have called him from California or something. But I think he was like the 5th happiest person that I talked to. So I want to thank Adam Silver just for being so helpful and so gracious as we went through not only this, but really the last couple of years. This also ensures that the Hawks franchise will be in downtown Atlanta through 2046. I don't expect it to happen, but this agreement also includes a breakup provision. If the Hawks were ever to leave Atlanta, which we hope won't happen, that would be $200 million prior to 2046. Looking ahead, I believe that the spectacular redesign of this high-performance venue is yet another stake in the ground for the revitalization of the entire corridor near Mercedes-Benz Stadium, where we're investing $200 million in a $1.5 billion stadium that will open next year. And then today we had the marking for the Centennial Olympic Games, and we will soon have an expansion of Centennial Olympic Park. And I'm hopeful that because of the investment we're making today, that the Gulch will also be developed all the way over to Turner Field in 5 Points. There's so much happening in downtown Atlanta right now. I knew we were in trouble when a development team came into my office the other day, Tony, and they started calling it South Downtown. And whenever people come up with these cool, catchy names for something, investment and money sure does follow that. I'm proud to point out and emphasize that the City of Atlanta will invest in this project without using any money from its general fund. So I want everybody at home to hear loud and clear. There will be no property taxes or no new taxes will be paid or levied on Atlanta residents or businesses to fund this renovation. Now that deserves a big round of applause. So where's the money coming from? $110 million will come from the extension of the car rental tax that was passed at the Georgia General Assembly last year. Once again, that tax is not being raised, it's simply being extended. The City of Atlanta will also contribute $12.5 million from the sale of Turner Field, which is on schedule to close by December 31. Once again, one-time money for a one-time investment and one-time cost. Going forward, the city will also continue to work with the Atlanta Hawks ownership and stakeholders to transform the new area known as the Gulch. And we believe that a $1.5 billion investment is possible over the next 20 years. This deal we're announcing this afternoon really does mark a special day for South Downtown. This renovation will play a key role in the city's robust $15 billion tourism industry, which brought more than 50 million visitors to the city last year, making our city one of the 5th most visited cities in the United States of America. And it's tremendous news for fans of downtown. One of the things that I can tell you about Tony after spending time with both he and Grant, their wives and their families, is they really do things in a first-rate fashion. And we're really lucky to have them both. So there's lots of excitement going on in Atlanta right now. The opening of the Mercedes-Benz Stadium next year, the sale and redevelopment of Turner Field, the sale and redevelopment of Underground Atlanta, and the expansion through MARTA, the Atlanta streetcar, and our public bike sharing program, which will be voted on November 8th. So I'm asking you all to go and vote for the 2 items we have. This agreement with the Hawks to renovate and redesign Phillips Arena is a major achievement in the evolution of downtown Atlanta into a world-class sports and entertainment center. I could not be more pleased with the partners that we have who are going to make South Downtown one of the most special places in all of the region. I also want to thank Councilwoman Keisha Lance Bottoms for her leadership of the Atlanta Fulton County Recreation Authority and acknowledge their board members whose hard work and diligence also contributed to today. So this has been the second big announcement under your tenure. A few weeks ago it was Turner Field, and today you're standing here with a renovation that's going to give the Atlanta Hawks a home that is worthy of their extraordinary play and exceptional character. With that, I want to introduce the majority owner of the Atlanta Hawks, Mr. Tony Resler.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, of course, I just want to thank the mayor and his team, I guess for so many reasons, including cutting an incredibly tough deal with us, because he is so focused on the future of this city. We are utterly committed to the city of Atlanta and to its downtown area. And I do believe this agreement will create a world-class Phillips Arena. I would also say, and I do believe, that we have several obsessions, commitments as a franchise. So please hear us. Of course, continuing a winning tradition with people like Coach Mike Budenholzer, with people like Kyle Korver, with Dwight Howard, with Kent Bazemore, continuing a winning tradition. And yes, trying to win a championship is a commitment of this franchise, but also creating, improving the fan experience is critically important to this franchise and to the city and to our mayor. That is not easy to do. The refurbishment of Phillips Arena, the construction, the development of a world-class football stadium next to it, the development of the downtown over time will create an extraordinary downtown commensurate with an extraordinary city. Of that, we are very, very confident. So we, as a franchise, I would say that Grant Hill, our other owners, we are utterly delighted to be in partnership with this city, with this mayor, with our downtown for the next 30 years, and expect great things in the future. Thank you so much.
I now want to take a point of personal privilege and have Keisha Lance Bottoms make a few remarks.
Thank you.
We'll slide right. You slide up. You slide up.
Thank you, Mayor Reed and Mr. Ressler, and to all of the Hawks players and organization here today. I am so very pleased on behalf of the City of Atlanta and Fulton County Recreation Authority to support this project. When I received a call from Mayor Reed, I was reminded that our deeds are our monuments. And what I am most encouraged by in having the Hawks as a partner is that the people of Atlanta have not been lost in the project. The vast majority of people will never have an opportunity to enter Phillips Arena. That's just the reality of our city. But what the Hawks have done is that they have taken Phillips Arena into our communities. And by that I mean any number of us on the Atlanta City Council can tell you what they have done inside of our communities to infuse not just beautiful plain basketball courts, but also to bring reality into our communities. I joined the Hawks with twice this summer. Once was at the William Walker Recreation Center for a new basketball court, and the second time was to welcome Dwight Howard home. And I share that with you today because obviously this is a very important business transaction, but I want the people of Atlanta to know that it's also about the people of Atlanta. And so we are charged with being good stewards, which I'm sure Mayor Reed and Howard Shook would agree, I hope, and all my colleagues on council, that we have done that with this deal, but more importantly, it's about creating a lasting legacy within this city and making a difference in our communities. And so thank you on behalf of the Recreation Authority, and I look forward to signing off on all of these deals by the end of the year.
I look forward to you signing off on it too. With that, we'll take any questions that you all may have.
Mr. Mayor, can you talk a little bit about the redevelopment? Because you talked about a lot of redevelopment going on in the city, but what about some of the redevelopment happening with the Civic Center?
Yeah, with the Civic Center, you know where I stand on that. I feel like that deal took too long. There's some conversations going on with my COO, Dan Gordon, who has a very serious depth in real estate development. To the extent that something happens by December 31st, I'm open to it. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm not putting any more time or energy to it. We've got a pretty full plate. I think we're going to have a good referendum vote on November 8th. That means we've got about $2.6 billion worth of projects to figure out for MARTA. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to go ahead and get this deal wrapped up with Tony. And then we've got about $300 million in additional infrastructure projects. Then we've got Turner Field, we've got Underground, which is moving along nicely, and we think will close before December 31st. So there are just too many things to be engaged in a deal that is tough. The other thing is from a timing standpoint, for the Hawks and Steve and Tony and Grant and the team to get the retrofit done without it being overly disruptive, they really needed an answer in the time frame we were working on. So for me, It was just a matter of deciding where I was going to spend my time.
So speaking of that, when can we expect plans, can we renderings? Do you have any renderings possibly?
Oh my goodness, man, Tony, they got more renderings than you can ever show.
We'd like to see them.
No, you are going to see them.
You'll see 'em.
Trust me, you'll see them. They're working real hard on them. But here again, we looked at the calendar. My Chief of Staff, Candace Bird, my Deputy Chief of Staff, Katrina Taylor, looked at the calendar. And we had to, one, let council know if we were going to move this along, if we wanted to be done by December 31st. Tony and his team then have a lot of work to do in terms of getting the building ready. And when Tony and I chatted when he first got here, I said one way or another we were going to have a world-class facility. And Tony made a joke about me being a tough negotiator. Yeah, I don't believe that. He's the one where my security was worried. So I think the deal is he did not become a billionaire by mistake. Let me assure you. So I think it's good. Maria?
Yes. Are the Hawks going to have to play outside? How long is the project going to take? Or are you going to be able to actually not miss a season with this renovation?
No, I think we'll stay playing at the arena, although maybe Bud or Steve Koonin could answer Hawks specific, but we do very much intend to stay at the arena during the season and do the renovation in the summertime. 2 summers, it appears.
So it's over 2 summers.
Where's Steve, by the way? You might want to come up by the way, just so I could, Steve Koonin, Scott Wilkinson, and James Beard working with the mayor. I just want to say these guys did an extraordinary amount of work and effort, and I just want to congratulate them on a job well done. So with that, I should let Steve answer some of these arena-specific questions if you have some.
So the plan is that hopefully right immediately after the NBA Finals, when we win the championship,
I love it.
we will commence construction. We will open for the beginning of the 17-18 season, and then we will take the summer of 18 to finish the construction, and we will open for the 18-19 season, which happens to be the 50th anniversary of the Hawks moving to Atlanta.
Wow. Okay.
And so we will open with the brand new reimagined, transformed building for the 50th anniversary of the Hawks in Atlanta.
Steve, what can fans expect to see? Sacramento has a fabulous stadium. Will it rival that?
Absolutely. We're going to have connectivity. We're going to have, one of our inspirations is the Atlanta Beltline. It is about connectivity, it's about inclusion, and it's about fun. And so we want to take the spirit of the Beltline and bring it into our arena. Every concourse will be connected. There'll be amenities all the way through to what our mayor talked about. No haves and have-nots. Not one side is for one group. Everybody's welcome everywhere. And we're going to have, and it's mandatory to me, great food. Because I'm there a lot of nights.
I thought you meant connectivity with Wi-Fi.
No, I'm talking about people connecting. Technology's a given. Of course, technology's a given. And we will make this the most video-centric arena in the country.
Follow up on my other question.
Wow, he made me feel good.
You made a very good deal.
I see why he's a marketing genius. 50th
Phillips
anniversary.
Arena was paid for where the car rental tax went to all the public improvements part, and it was revenue bonds that paid for the actual construction of the arena. It sounds like this time y'all are using car rental tax for the renovation, and then the revenue that is made from the arena will go partly for your $50 million. Is that that will be done, or?
Yeah, no, we're not in their books. The bottom line is we're going to put up 142.5. There's probably another 50 million of need. That will be their contribution, and then they're going to have a structured debt payment into the future of about 5.9 million at some point in the future. So it's a deal that we're proud to make available. It's clearly transparent. We don't raise taxes. It doesn't hit the property tax digest. It doesn't impact our AA+ credit rating with Standard & Poor's, Moody's, and Fitch. So we just think it's a good
different
deal.
structure than
It
what
is.
the Phillips Arena deal was.
It is, and we couldn't have done it without our terrific state partners.
And the Phillips naming rights plan too, that is about to run out. And
the naming rights will be the domain of the Atlanta Hawks organization.
A lot of folks want to know about ticket prices and how that might affect ticket prices for the WNBA and the NBA games.
Well,
Are they going to go up?
We have the most affordable ticket prices in the NBA. WNBA is a tenant of ours, the Dreamer, owned by a separate group. But we will always have great ticket prices for fans, and we're using the internet and digital and mobile to have even better ticket value. So
But can they expect an increase because of the
some
$50
will,
million?
some will. Some tickets will go up, some won't.
No, the increase would actually be our fault. I mean, in fairness to the Hawks organization, they were adamant during the negotiation about keeping their ticket prices as low as possible. So we will have some form of a ticket surcharge, but it really is to make sure that our balance sheet stays strong. And I think that we will continue to have the most affordable tickets, but we are figuring out a way to how we're going to pay for this in the future.
Will there be a loss of seats in the between season, and how many if there is?
If I understand what you're asking, will the finished product have
No,
less
will
seats?
there be how many seats are going to be there during the construction period? Are we going to lose some seating there?
We will not be doing construction during the active season where it will take away seats from fans.
Dwight, how important is it to have an upgraded, state-of-the-art facility? How important is it to attract free agent talent when you got a state-of-the-art facility? Does that go into any decision making?
Does it impact free agents?
Facility, a state-of-the-art facility, how important is it as far as attracting free agents and other talent?
I just think it's all about winning. That's the only thing that matters.
So the stadium doesn't matter. Venue.
It matters, but our job is to go out there and win and be the best we can on the court and off the court. So we're not in charge of the building and selling tickets. Our job is to go out there and go hard every night.
But I would add,
And that was good.
I would add, and maybe Coach Bud could acknowledge, but I would say that having a brand new practice facility, maybe a D-League franchise, maybe a renovated arena, all contribute to having a first-class franchise.
Yeah, I think, having a new arena and playing in something that I think our fans are going to be excited about and our players are going to be excited about. I think, we drill into these guys how important it is that they go out and, play hard. But it does impact, how we feel when we're going out into the arena, and we couldn't be more excited about it. And as Tony mentioned, to follow up the announcement of a new practice facility. I just think it's pretty amazing how hard our group works, the work they put in each day, and now to be able to go to Emory to do that during the day and go to a renovated arena at night and compete and hopefully put on an incredible effort for the city of Atlanta. It's very meaningful, very impactful. You can see by Kyle and Bays and Dwight being here and myself and Charles, this means a lot to us and how much the business side from the Hawks has worked. It's been impressive. It's been incredible. So we couldn't be more excited, more supportive of everything that's happening, and we'll look forward to each phase of it. And when it's done, we'll be excited to play in it. I guarantee you.
Can someone from the city or the Hawks maybe talk about other developments, maybe around the Gulch or around Phillips Arena? There's been talk of redevelopment associated with the team. Can you give me some details about how this deal affects those talks?
Really, it affects the overall energy. I mean, across South Downtown, the number of real estate the number of real estate closings that are going on are just going through the roof. I mean, there are 11 active closing on parcels within a mile of 5 Points occurring right now. I do the meetings with the developers who come in my office, and what I know is Underground Atlanta is going to close, and it's going to be terrific. The Carter Group before December 31. The Carter Group and Georgia State, I met with President Becker on yesterday, which is why I called Tony and told him we had a deal, because we were highly confident that the Turner Field transaction would close. So we had our share of the $12.5 million, because I didn't want to dip into the cash reserves of the city, and I didn't think council would support that. So we now know that our real estate transaction will close. And then Richard Resler has expressed very serious interest and done a lot of due diligence on developing the Gulch. I mean, the activity speaks for itself. So you've got German private equity funds that are interested and involved in the underground transaction. You've got around Turner Field, you've got California private equity money coming in around Turner Field in partnership with Carter and with Georgia State. We're very close to getting a deal done with the Georgia World Congress Center for a 4-star hotel. That will be, I think, the third or fourth largest hotel in the city of Atlanta. So we're working on that right now. My point is, if you look at that wedge, when we're done, it's going to be pretty breathtaking. And if you look at Tony's track record, Steve's track record, everything they do in an exemplary fashion. And that's why I decided to make the commitment that I made today. I do want to take a point of personal privilege because I believe I miss my friend Michael Bond and my friend Ivor Young, who along with Kwanzaa, all of this activity is occurring in their district. So they're delivering for their constituents.
So,
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, how do you do that?
Hold on 1 second, I'll be right back.
Mr. Mayor, can you talk a little bit about jobs right now? Because that's a lot of different projects going on at the same time, all of the new construction.
The jobs number in Atlanta is at 2008 levels. When I stood in this position in January 2010, we were at 10.5% unemployment. We're right now at about 5.1, 5.2. We have had our net population in Atlanta is up 40,000, and the net job gains in the city of Atlanta is higher than 38,000. So there's a reason that capital is coming here. And, like I said, one of the things that I made a joke about, but I meant it, when you have people coming in branding parts of Atlanta that have been starved for Atlanta as South Downtown, and having a whole marketing regime based upon South Downtown, and then they have $1 billion worth of capital. We're the only city that they're investing in outside of Europe, outside of Germany and Switzerland, is the city of Atlanta. It's the reason we have Ponce City Market today. Ponce City Market is Jamestown backed by German money. And so what it says is Georgia is continuing to become an international destination for capital. And we knew that, and we're seeing it all around. So everything outside of my window is going to change drastically. I mean, we have a developer that's interested in doing a high-rise on top of 5 Points. I never thought in my wildest dreams that anybody would say I want to do a high-rise over 5 Points and be serious about it and not have a need for bank financing. So the point I'm making is that having the Hawks in this relationship solidified removes a variable that needed to be removed. And the way that the Hawks have handled themselves, I mean, I was standing right here when we were in the worst of the situation involving the controversy that led us to our new ownership group. Steve was here with me. I mean, we were in an awful position. But you know what Adam and I were talking about was, look how Atlanta handled it. Look how it handled it. And look at our guys. I mean, look at Kyle and Dwight and Blaze and our coach. And they are a big reason I do deals based upon the people that I'm doing a deal with. Look at the owner of the Falcons, Arthur Blank, right? And so I think that's what we have in these guys. And I think, I needed to let you all know so nobody would say that they were surprised, because I'm going to move this bill.
So how do you do all that, Mr. Mayor? How do you do all that? I mean, all these programs and the projects and redevelopment sound great, and still keep Atlanta affordable. There's a lot of housing advocates have been saying that folks, even people who might be working in some of these businesses, are being priced out.
You do it by leading with our heart. I mean, at the exact same time, we've been expanding affordability in Atlanta more aggressively than any other city in the country. So we're the ones that passed the bill that said where you use public money, that you have a 10 to 15% requirement of affordability. We're the one that's getting ready to pass an ordinance over the Beltline. It's going to be the first inclusionary zoning ordinance passed in the entire state of Georgia. We're the ones that's doing that. If you look at all of the affordable housing stock that's come online, the government that did it is the one that you're looking at. It was us. And the last point that I would make is we're going to guard against affordability by having prosperity. So when you have the kind of prosperous environment, and people like the Hawks organization, they do things like they've been doing on their own throughout the city of Atlanta, building basketball courts, investing in youth centers throughout the city of Atlanta, having their players show up, stay, and engage. And we're expanding our housing opportunity fund from $35 million to $75 million. So the point I'm making is we don't just talk, we are absolutely doing it faster than anybody else. Finally, the city of Atlanta is the biggest real estate owner in the city. meaning the mayor influences the Atlanta Land Bank Authority, the Atlanta Housing Authority, and the property that we own. With an economy like the one we have right now, it's going to be attractive to say to developers, we'll give you the dirt if you build a building that has some affordability in it. So that's the most direct response to that answer. Anybody have anything else?
Could you talk about your
I'm going to get
brother-
Scott, because we got to get him in.
As for Gulch development, we have a board a while back, and we talked to you about the potential for, future development around there. I'm curious, Mr. Reed mentioned your brother is a potential steward in that area. I'm kind of curious where that's standing.
Well, again, I think as we said from the day we took over ownership of the franchise, we were committed to restarting, rebuilding the foundation, the Atlanta Hawks Foundation, which we have, to building a world-class practice facility, to renovating the arena, to getting a D-League franchise so we could be competitive in the NBA, and to help develop the downtown area to the best of our ability. For what it's worth, an answer specifically to your question, the CIM Group, which my brother is a senior partner in, is, I think, the largest urban developer in America today, and is absolutely looking, spent time in the city with the mayor, with several of their business associates, and are looking to figure out ways they could help and contribute to the redevelopment of the downtown. We, as the Atlanta Hawks, have tried our best to participate as well, and will participate in some way in the redevelopment to the best of our ability, because we believe that is a critical component of having a world-class franchise here for the next 30 plus years.
Thank you. Last question?
Was there any thought, Mayor, to building a new venue as opposed to renovation?
No, because Tony and the Hawks got to a good place with Phillips Arena with the appropriate investment. And once again, I just think that it speaks to the character of the organization that they didn't push and insist upon a totally new building. And that just shows you what happens when we lean in and try to work hard. But I tell you what, I've seen the renderings. And so this is not going to be, it's not going to feel like any, we're not trying to get by. I think it's going to be, we're not trying to get by. I think it's going to be amazing, and I think it's going to be worthy of this franchise. But I really want people to know that it speaks to the character of the Hawks organization. It was not a lot of back and forth about making Phillips Arena world class. And what we said is, we got in a room and we said, if we can achieve that, we'll be here. They could have taken another approach. I mean, Tony's a serious guy, so is Steve. They could have pushed for me to turn over the Civic Center campus or move to a different place, but that would have been highly disruptive. And they just made a different decision. Once again, it's just another data point on why I'm standing here today making a commitment for $142.5 million. And please end all of your story with no new taxes, no tax increases, no impact on our credit rating, no impact on the general fund. Hey, thank you all for last one.
The 142, the 110 is car rental.
110 is car rental extension. 12.25 is Turner Field. And then the balance of the 20 is the dispensation of other small real estate assets that we've had people come. In other words, we've had developers come to the city and identify property and say we'd like to buy it. And we had already had a commission that went through the city's real estate book. They're smaller parcels. But because of the market, they're fetching higher values. And the credit for that really does belong to Jim Beard. So basically you have smaller parcels that are excess municipal inventory, but they're in attractive parts of the city that when you add them all up equal $20 million. But we definitely needed to have the Turner Field 12.5 identified. So that's how we see it.
31% minority EDO.
Yeah, so we're going to do what we did. Arthur Blank has honored that. In fact, the Falcons are higher than 31%. So maybe we'll have some good-natured competition.
So can we share the renderings with our viewers? Because some of us are visual.
You're going to have to talk to Steve about that. But they don't have them today, but they'll have them soon.
Email to us?
Our head of PR is 15 feet away from you. He'll get with you right after.
Hey, thank you all for coming today.
Absolutely.
We're going to go this way, guys.